happy to call home. I describe myself as a non-literalistic and non-exclusivistic Christian, committed to living my life with God within the Christian tradition, even as I affirm the validity of all the enduring religious traditions. Thus, in addition to treating historical and literary matters, I have sought to explore the religious significance of the Bible, in particular, its significance for Christians. One of my central purposes in this book is to address the present conflict about the Bible within the Church and to provide Christians with a persuasive way of seeing and reading their sacred Scriptures, a way that takes the Bible seriously without taking it literally. As I develop a historical, metaphorical approach to reading the Bible, I also offer an interpretation of the biblical tradition. What I present here is a way of seeing and reading the Bible that flows out of my total life experience, my education as a student of the Bible, my vocation as a teacher of biblical and religious studies, my journey as a Christian, and what I have learned from the journeys of others. To say the obvious, the book reflects my own subjectivity. There's no point in pretending objectivity, as if I or anybody could have a vantage point outside of one's own personal and cultural history. The test of our subjectivities, whether they are primarily provincial, individualistic, or even narcissistic, is whether they make sense to others. And so I invite you into a way of seeing and reading the Bible that has made sense to me and encourage you to use your own discerning judgment about how much makes sense to you. I'm grateful to many people for what I've learned about the Bible. I am thankful for my socialization within the church. Though it included much that I have had to unlearn, it also instilled in me a love of the Bible and an abiding sense of its importance. I'm indebted to professors from my past. In my undergraduate years, Paul Sponheim and Rod Grubb, both then professors at Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota, were most responsible for generating my adult interest in religion and the Bible. In my graduate education, George B. Caird, my primary professor at Oxford, was immeasurably important. I'm also indebted to authors of books on biblical scholarship from the last few centuries and contemporary colleagues within the academic guild. Some are acknowledged in footnotes, but some are not. Because this book comes out of over 30 years of teaching, I can no longer remember the source of many of the insights that I report. In virtually every case, I learned them from somebody. A completely original insight is a rare bird. I apologize for not being able to credit each contributor by name. I conclude with a comment about the dedication of this book to Tom Haller and the community at Ring Lake Ranch, an ecumenical retreat center near Du Bois, Wyoming. There my wife Marion and I co-led a retreat for 2 weeks in late August, during which I also finished this book. On the first day of the retreat, Tom, a United Church of Christ clergyperson from St. Louis, was gravely injured in a horse-riding accident. For a day we did not know if he would live. His accident united the community of retreatants in a remarkably intimate way, especially as we prayed together for his recovery. In particular, I want to thank the staff at Ring Lake Ranch, especially Robert Hoskins, Ann Mabane, Ellie Stewart, and its director, Joan Gunselman. I'm happy to say that Tom has recovered, and very pleased to dedicate this book to him and the people with whom I lived for 2 rich weeks in the mountains of Wyoming. Part 1. Foundations. 1. Reading lenses. Seeing the Bible again. The key word in the title of this book, Reading the Bible Again for the First Time, is again. It points to my central claim. Over the past century, an older way of reading the Bible has ceased to be persuasive for millions of people, and thus one of the most imperative needs in our time is a way of reading the Bible anew. Reading and seeing go together. On the one hand, what we read can affect how we see. On the other hand, and more important for my immediate purpose, how we see affects how we read. What we bring to our reading of a text or document affects how we read it. All of us, whether we